Howdy, it's Pat, again. Welcome to Interesting Indie Investigation, the series where I go through a list of super niche, unpopular games that have been accumulating on my phone in an attempt to finally delete the note and come out with an array of new and exciting indie game experiences. Have you ever explored an old family house? You can discover so many things about your family history amidst the dusty, cluttered rooms and hallways. You get to see things that happened long before you were born, and it really puts your existence into perspective. I've always found exploring family history extremely compelling, which is a big part of why I love What Remains of Edith Finch so much, because it perfectly captures the feeling of exploring an old family house. There are so many little details in this game that help evoke the dense atmosphere of places like my grandma's house or my aunt's cottage, like the usage of realistic photographs, old floral patterned chairs, dust floating in the warm rays of light that peek through the vintage curtains, the weird antiques, and the secret compartments and passageways. The game fully sells you on its setting because of how unreasonably detailed it is. One detail that I absolutely loved was how you could see drawings on the next page of Edith's notebook underneath her family tree. Just as much care went into the words that Edith says as there was in the creation of the house. Every line has a purpose, whether it's to foreshadow events, build the world and characters, or be humbly profound.
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
A simple line remarking about the mess in the kitchen having a lot of Chinese takeout containers, for example, becomes significantly more interesting when Edith mentions that it was the only restaurant willing to deliver all the way to their abomination of a house in the middle of nowhere. Lines like this show how much thought went to every aspect of the game. It makes so much sense that only one restaurant would be willing to deliver all the way to their house, and that the Finches would be forced to eat from there often since their measly-looking vegetable garden wouldn't be able to feed all of them. While the narration on its own is incredibly well written, the visual storytelling does a lot of the work too. What Remains of Edith Finch uses facets of games such as exploration and camera control and clever ways to hide parts of the story, such as noticing the repaired railing that broke when Barbara died, or finding out about Edith's pregnancy. The pregnancy reveal is particularly excellent because it's hiding in plain sight. All you have to do to figure it out is look down. It's something so simple yet brilliant and makes for one of the most memorable experiences in the game. Within this atmospheric and mysterious familial museum are the stories of how each family member met their end. The Finch family is cursed in a similar way to the Kennedy family, which is something that had always been super interesting to me. How could every member of a family coincidentally die young? Well, What Remains of Edith Finch does a great job of explaining why, and it's no coincidence. The game takes place within Edith's notebook, with the story bookended by her son opening and closing the book. The majority of the game involves you playing as Edith, exploring the house and experiencing the stories of the other family members from their extremely personalized rooms, each of which take you to the memory of how they died, which you're able to play for yourself. Each story captures a specific feeling with their own gameplay and tone, and are able to make you feel such intense emotions in such short periods of time, like disgust, vertigo, fear, joy, monotony, and dreaming. At its core, that's what Remains of Edith Finch is about, the power of stories.
But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real. I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories!
The stories themselves were the curse, and the reason the family was dying. But for a character like Edie, Edith's great-grandmother, they were her life. While everyone else kept dying because they tried so hard to live up to the stories or became negligent because they accepted that they were cursed, Edie lived longer than anyone because she was the one who told and embellished the stories. While the others died for the stories, she lived for them. Experiencing so many deaths so quickly, and experiencing the entire story from the perspective of a character who's revealed to be dead in the end, makes you think a lot about the value of your own life. We're all so fleeting. so the best we can do with our time here is play as many interesting indie games as possible. This next bit is a praise of Joseph Anderson's analysis of What Remains of Edith Finch. This video is currently my favorite of his, but that's a tough call because, despite a couple duds, Joseph Anderson's content is all incredible. I would highly recommend watching his video about What Remains of Edith Finch because, thanks to his particular word choice and brilliant analysis, he was able to recreate the atmosphere and tone of the game and make me feel more intense emotions than even the game could elicit at times. At one point, I felt like I was going to throw up, got goosebumps, and teared up all at the same time. He has such a way of perfectly bombarding you with emotions. His connections of similar deaths, like how each of the twins both fell off of cliffs, how both Calvin and Gregory drowned, and how both Edie and Molly were poisoned, were both shocking and unsettling, and his emphasis on specific quotes was extremely impactful, such as his feelings on baby Gregory's death, from his perspective as a father of 2 baby boys. Joseph Anderson did such a good job with this video that I can remember exactly where I was when I watched it. I had just woken up, and first thing in the morning, I think it was Sunday, I watched this video as it just came out. I curled up in my bed, facing the wall, and I remember my eyes being too sleepy for me to really see that well. And I didn't see how long the video was until I finished it. I thought it was 20 minutes, but it was actually an hour. In conclusion, play What Remains of Edith Finch, and then watch Joseph Anderson's analysis of it. They're both amazing.
But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes and appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.